thousands and thousands of parents who hold values that he does not happen to agree with. Please.
Agree with?
Agree with?
Agree with? Interestingly placed air quotes. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Agree with.
Oh, so you don't agree with me? What? Are you implying there's something else he's doing and he's disguising it as not agreeing?
It's the Casey and Zoe thing.
All right. Yes. Yes.
This fucking girl. She's the worst. She's literally the worst.
The thing is like she's not as bad as like a Candace Owens or like a Corlin Bursanko or Carlin or whatever the fuck her name is. But she's like I don't know, she like hides it well. Like she dips everything she's saying in like the sweetest of bullshit honey.
That makes me hate her more, though.
Yeah,
I'd rather someone be, like,
that.
aggressively wrong than, like, here's something really wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather the first.
I get that, though. Like, after being so frustrated with Dennis Prager's video where he was like, happiness is a moral obligation, and, like, you should be... It's like I feel like my brain gives her credit for at least she's actually following that philosophy.
Yeah.
And she actually does, like, the thing that Dennis Prager promotes but won't do himself.
Well, that's because she's a woman, and that's who he's asking.
Exactly.
He's talking to girls.
He's just asking women to smile, basically.
He's telling women that they should smile more. That's really what's going on.
Yeah, and leftists.
And leftists. Leftists and women just shut up and smile.
And probably, he's like, yeah, leftists, they're all basically women. Dennis Prager thinks.
Well, to Dennis Prager, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what is this called again?
So this is emails expose California school districts, quote, aggressive teaching of gender theory to 8-year-olds.
Oh my God, let's see if this time they're actually able to even show the emails they're talking about. I believe in her. I think she learned.
You think that they figured the sound out? Well, she's a whole team working with her.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to actually show us an email successfully this time. I have faith.
For reference, the last time we watched her and another person do a live, they couldn't get the audio to work on anything, but they were still riffing off of the things that they couldn't show us.
Yeah, the whole thing was like, they were like, oh, wait till you see this video of the woke left doing terrible
and they
things.
And
then they try to play the video and it wouldn't work. And they'd be like, what? It won't work? Well, look. That video, though, it proves that the left is terrible. And they would start going about how, like, as if we'd seen the video.
Yeah. Super stupid.
And it happened like multiple times.
Very
stupid. It's incredible. You can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah,
we have it up on YouTube.
And then we show the videos, so don't worry.
Yeah, in our video, we actually go and find the videos that they were unable to figure out how to play.
Because Casey and I, I don't know, care about the truth. All right. Yeah. So let's see what this genius has to say today.
We should start today with an applause, Amala.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I'm applauding. Oh, her too. Great.
Welcome, everybody. Amala.
Oh, yes.
Hi, guys. It's good to be here.
I'm so thankful to have Amala here. Jill Simonian. I'm Jill Simonian with PragerU Kids. It's been a while since
I'm so thankful to have her here because no one can call me racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Page here on PragerU and done a live talking about issues in education, our PragerU Kids program, all of those wonderful things. I am super happy to be here today because I started today with applause because I am applauding a group of brave, articulate, smart, committed, dedicated parents in a school district.
Brave, articulate, smart,
all right,
dedicated.
Who'd they sue?
Brave, articulate, smart, dedicated.
Who'd they sue?
I want to mash those all together.
Brave, articulate, smart, dedicated parents.
Brarticia smart. Dedicated. Brarticia smart, dedicated.
Yep, that's it. Good one.
Thanks.
Good one.
By, quite frankly, to where we happen to be in Southern California. I'm talking about today the Glendale Unified School District. Amala, have you seen what is happening in Glendale Unified this week?
Glendale, that's our backyard.
We've had videos and
we live 10 minutes away from Glendale.
Articles that have gone viral.
So there's stupid fucking losers protesting in Glendale. Awesome.
The caller picked up this story. I'm curious if you know anything about it as of yet.
No, I'll be learning today.
Oh my goodness, it's a surprise. It's a surprise.
Great,
okay.
great.
Oh my goodness.
We've got a series of leaked emails, testimonies from parents,
Oh, shit.
Information from teacher administrators talking about how, in so many words, socialism is a good thing, how, quote unquote, we are all queer in some ways. These are things that they're discussing with kids. And I got to...
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
just to start, yes, socialism is a good thing, and we're all kind of queer in some way.
Yeah. Both,
Queerness is a spectrum.
both true.
Queerness is a spectrum that we're all kind of on. Yeah.
But that goes against her Judeo-Christian values.
preface this conversation by saying, straight out of the gate, I happen to know folks on both sides of this equation. So if you're watching on the Glendale Unified School Board, yes, it's me, Jill Simonian. I know you. I respect you. And the group of parents, it's Jill Simonian. I know you. I respect you. I had to be, full disclosure. We believe in transparency here. I know people on both sides of this equation, but that's...
Does she live here?
It seems like she feels like a West Coast conservative to me, don't you think? I think it's a
If
safe
she
bet.
knows the people at this school, just if she actually is saying, like, I can't tell if she's being, like, metaphorical here.
No. She's being
She
literal.
literally knows some of these people.
Yeah, she knows people on the school board, and she knows. Obviously, she's going to know some of the protesters if she lives anywhere around here. Okay, she's just covering her personal social bases.
This shit pisses me off so much. The stop racism, stop hate, stop critical race theory.
Yeah.
How many times does it have to be explained that critical race theory is not taught in elementary schools?
Yeah, and it's
Or
just like
middle schools or high schools?
it's like so many words on a sign when you could have just written "me stupid." Saved a lot of time.
That doesn't keep us from speaking truth and really discussing what's going on. So, Amala, I'm going to ask you to bring up the first article from Daily Caller explaining what the heck is happening in Glendale Unified with their compromised education system regarding
Compromise.
LGBTQ curriculum and discussions in the classroom. Which one are we bringing up first? So I know.
Glendale Unified Schools takes a more aggressive approach to teaching critical race theory, LGBTQ ideology.
Okay. All right,
Ideology.
here we go. I'm looking at the
Nice.
article
Okay.
now. Let's read the first couple sentences. A public school
They were smart. They found an article instead of a video.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have to worry about the audio.
administrator in California went on multiple email rants to his colleagues calling for a more aggressive approach to implementing critical race theory and LGBTQ ideology.
Funny how they only quoted more aggressive approach and not critical race theory and LGBTQ plus ideology.
Right. I want to see the email because I don't think anyone, I mean, maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think anyone who is looking for a more aggressive approach to teaching about racism or LGBTQIA history or inclusion is going to say the words critical race theory.
Yeah.
Because once again, that isn't taught in schools.
Yeah.
So I want to see the email because I don't think he said critical
They
race
probably
theory.
will
but who
not show the
knows?
whole email. We'll probably have to go find it ourselves. But
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. If they were leaked, hopefully we can find them.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
into classroom learning, according
No,
to
if
email.
you're not wrong. If they had said
You're right.
critical race theory in the email, they'd put quotes around it with glee.
Yeah, you're right.
No
You're
way.
Right, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
you're right.
obtained by Daily Caller. Let me tell you this, people watching, and I want people to weigh in with the comments. These emails, I believe there were upwards of 10,000 emails that were collected through a public information request regarding this topic, and I'm just going to keep going on.
If it
Craig,
was a public information request, would that be considered leaked? Or is leaked to the general public? But it's a public information
No,
request.
if it was a public information request, then it wouldn't be a leak. It would
So
be,
she said that these were leaked
it would
emails.
be them complying with the
Yeah.
public information request.
All right, I was just being nitpicky.
Yeah, no, please,
but
no,
just,
it's
you know,
good.
She shouldn't have said leaked.
To ask the
Lewis, an
question.
administrator at Glendale Unified School District, began one email by talking about how STEM jobs are sexist and gender biased.
Yes.
The same
Yep.
email encouraged teachers to teach that every society and culture embraces LGBTQ plus ideology and that socialism is the normal human condition.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. We will also...
Oh, wait, I love that they cut off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because at the end it says, okay, let's read this whole thing. Quote, we will
Yeah.
also teach that LGBTQ plus is everybody, every society, every culture group, every age, over all time, with the only difference being the degree to which dominant entities are willing to cause injury physically or emotionally to others in an attempt to enforce conformity to their own narrow construction of normality. Yes. While perhaps even hinting that not only is socialism the normal human condition,
And then they cut it off.
We'll read the full email after this to see what
100p.
was actually said, but very telling. Whatever is in the rest of that quote,
They didn't
did
want to
not
put on their
want
video.
to be in the article. So yeah.
Great.
Let's go ahead and pull up his email. I just want to take a quick look.
Oh, good.
Right.
Okay, good job,
What are your
PragerU.
thoughts on this?
Bring up the whole email.
All right. What we are going to do is explore how history evidences the development of systems that perpetuate oppression, noting as well that these systems are very likely to oppress the white
Can
middle
we bring
class.
up the big so that we can all read it? Just get out of the video and let's just
and
open
just-
We'll come back to the video.
Oh, open the email?
Yeah, just find the email.
Yeah. Okay, so this was, I think it was Daily Caller. Daily Caller, email, Glendale School District. Oop, not Districe. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so this is the actual article.
Yeah, this is
that
the
they're
article they're
reading.
looking at. Does it have the email in it?
I mean,
or a
is
link to the email?
this- So this is Twitter. Yeah, this is what they're reading right now.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, what we are going to do is explore how history evidences the development of systems that perpetuate oppression, noting as well that these systems are very likely to oppress the middle white class as well as poor whites. We also reconstruct our literary canon to better reflect a diversity that is much different than the traditional white and male worldview, while still recognizing that Babbitt is damn good. As well, we will be critically thoughtful to how our, and especially college and career, traditional approach to mathematics and science teaching and learning has been unfriendly in terms of access and success for low SES students, and perhaps particularly how a preponderance of STEM fields are extremely sexist and gender biased, noting that white people and poor white people
are poor.
Oh, white people are poor and white people are women too.
Yes.
We will also teach that LGBTQ plus is everybody ever. They already read this. Perhaps even hinting. Danger is my middle name. That not only is
socialism the normal human condition,
and that we are social by nature. Go ahead.
For what else is a family, group, tribe, team, or society? Well, I'm most curious about that bit that they left out.
Yeah.
That not only is socialism the normal human condition, and that we are social by nature, for what else is a family, group, tribe, team, or society, but also that we are all probably best described as queer. Yeah. Because who doesn't like snails and spice and puppy dog nice?
Funny. And these people are losing their minds over this email?
Well, yeah, because they don't understand queer theory, and they attach their identity to the belief that they are straight. They're straight to the bone.
Yeah,
and there's no wiggle room. There are no gray areas. You know, like this what's her face, PragerU lady who's hosting this thing. Like, she's looked at a woman's butt and thought, nice, at some point. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's just no one is fully straight, and this isn't like some weird new radical thing. Like, this is fucking like Dr. Kinsey shit, like from the 50s. Like, we figured out the spectrum of human sexuality decades ago, and it makes perfect sense. And there's tons of studies and data to back it up. Like, human sexuality is a spectrum. It is not cut and dry. It's certainly not binary.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, conservatives hate nuance. They loathe it.
So this is another part of, I believe, like a separate email they're about to cover in the video we're watching.
Okay, good. I'd like to read it
He
first.
does mention critical race theory, but he says, I think all three of us, you, me, Sally, are on the same page with this broader topic. Critical race theory, LGBTQ, and everything else some parents do not want anybody learning about. That's the only mention I can see of critical race theory. So, I think and just to be clear, anyone just joining, critical race theory is not taught in schools. This is insane. It never has been. This is ridiculous that this is still even a talking point. I think where we differ is in terms of philosophy or mindset. Sally seeks understanding and learning, you as well, with the additional complication of trying to walk that line of whatever the heck the district believes. And me, I am definitely trending toward a more aggressive approach, most because I think a lot of these people are being forcefully and purposefully ignorant. And second, because I think the battle lines have already been drawn, and I'm in no mood to seek the typical democratic solution of playing nice and seeking compromise fueled by a fantasy of bipartisanship.
I feel that.
I also know that Sally, in her inside voice, is ready to kick ass too. The two Democratic presidents who actually accomplished real change, FDR and LBJ, did so because they weren't worried about taking aggressive action. Who will be next? Yep. Given the model AOC? Anyway, nice. I think we are on the immediate verge of civil war in the United States with the 40 period of 1980 to 2020. Culture was dominated. This is getting a little grainy, hence my squinty. Culture wars dominating party politics, starting with Reagan, being similar to the period 1820 to 1860. Our bleeding Kansas is instead a bleeding nation, with mass murders from Sandy Hook to San Jose becoming almost daily. Yep.
Yeah.
But by the same logic, I also believe that we are at the precipice of world war, with the 40-year period from 1870 to 1910, German and Italian unification in the 1870s, mirroring our current era with the United States, China, Russia, and all racing for hypersonic missile technology, China constructing a blue water navy, and Russia being Russia. Who knows? The American Civil War may kick off World War III. These are extremely dangerous times, and I think too many are oblivious as they walk blithely toward danger, even to the point of encouraging it. I also believe in live by the sword, die by the sword, so understand that aggression can end badly for me. Perhaps unrelenting assertiveness is what I seek.
Interesting question.
I will also admit to a kind of personal patriotism. I know I didn't get it from my family, wherein despite the fact that I have known for a very long time that U.S. history is an ongoing horror story, I still have this deep belief in an overly romanticized version of America. And then it continues, but we don't get to see it. Oh yeah, here.
It's ideals and vision.
You want to read this
Sure.
one?
I always say the pledge. I always tear up at land of the free and home of the brave, and seeing USA emblazoned across Olympic uniforms still makes me proud. And so I really resent and take it personally when the boobs, goons, and buffoons that make up Trump's cult try to dictate terms of who and what is American. I'm fine with socialism. I think capitalism is in the same family of greed and power madness that characterizes imperialism, colonialism, and religion. Yup. And I think that most Americans, especially a big chunk of white Americans, are oblivious to the fragility of their own status. Homeless people are blamed for not wanting to work, and when white people are unemployed, underemployed, uninsured, and uneducated, of course the blame goes to foreigners and people of color taking all the good stuff.
True.
From a barn raising to public education to figuring out how to save Apollo 13, socialist practices are what makes America great. Yep. Of course, my mindset may be influenced by my weekend learning, starting with National Geographic's latest issue dedicated to the Tulsa Massacre, and then New York Times, the daily podcast, The Burning of Black Tulsa, Day X, Parts 1 and 2, and The Native Scholar Who Wasn't. But I don't really believe that it's one weekend. Oblivious as the path to oblivion, and so I'm back to learning and understanding. And that's it.
Interesting.
I mean, I agree with most of that. I think, I do think it's going to be a little, I guess, delicate with predictions of civil war. I mean, there are a lot of people on the right who've been saying civil war is coming for a number of years now, and I tend to think of them as fear mongers in that regard. So, so I'm like very on the fence because I do think it often gets blown out of proportion, but at the same time, we can't pretend that it's an impossibility.
I think I agree with you there.
And yes, Elise, nuance is the enemy of blockheads, without a doubt. Okay, so now we can. So
now
we
get to see what
now
these
that we have
buttholes.
Yeah, these blockheads. We have context now. We've read the emails.
Because just so, and if anyone's just joining, PragerU has a really cute habit of not actually giving the entire context of the thing that they're talking shit about.
Though right now they are showing the email.
They are showing the actual email, which is cool, because last time they didn't show us pretty much anything. So we just want to make sure that we cover all our bases before we criticize their stupid comments.
And that we know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Of course.
Surprised by this whatsoever.
Right.
Taking a more aggressive approach to CRT. And
I'm going to close the window, just it's very loud outside.
Yeah, sure. Good thinking. Good thinking, Lincoln.
Oh, ignore my butt. Okay. Oh, okay.
Don't worry, you're totally out of frame.
My butt wasn't on frame?
No.
Good. Too bad for everyone else, huh? Okay, let's see. Here we go.
And gender ideology, you mean like we've been saying for the past I don't know how long?
Right,
So
right.
shocker.
Right. Now, I gotta say, just, as a parent who used to have kids in public schools.
And I guess I'll say, too, about this guy's email specifically, it's like, yeah, this guy is clearly a leftist. Pushing for, leftist ideals to be taught, which is leftist right. And finding this one email from this one guy is not evidence of some, grand leftist takeover of Glendale School District, though I'd love that.
Yeah, our bias here is we want this to happen.
Absolutely.
But
it's just not, I'm sure you could find a number of emails from the same district of, people having different opinions. And obviously they're zeroing in on this one to push a narrative of, like, everyone's pushing for this, which, again, would not be a negative. But I just don't think that's really an accurate portrait of the situation. I think there's a lot more disagreement in the school district than they would care to show.
Right, and the only people implicated in the email are himself, some girl named Sally.
Yeah.
And then I think one other person who, like, agrees with them. And that was all that was mentioned.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, we have a clan of 50 people who are gonna revolt.
Yeah, it's like they have, like, a petition that, like, all the teachers signed saying,
yeah.
let's teach gender theory and CRT. Well, I'm fine with it. And that's the other thing. I mean, we often say that, like, CRT, critical race theory, has not been taught in elementary schools. But if it was, fine.
Yeah. And just to be clear,
it might be a little heady for those little kids to wrap their heads around, like real critical race theory.
Real heady.
But, like, if you want to teach it to them, I don't have any moral objection whatsoever.
So critical race theory, just to be clear, is critical theory through the lens of race. That's all it is. And it's generally taught in law school.
Yeah.
And is a big part of, like, the justice system.
And could certainly be touched on in, like, a high school class on government or legal system.
I learned about critical race theory in depth when I took a class called racism when I was in college, and that's the non-law way that one could learn critical race theory.
Right.
But it is separate than learning that there were slaves.
Yeah, just acknowledging
Yeah.
that slavery was a thing that happened in America.
That's not critical race theory.
That's not critical race theory.
But yeah, and being like, oh, the Trail of Tears happened. That's not critical race
critical
theory.
race theory is an analysis of systemic racism, very much couched in legal theory.
Not bad, but also not taught in schools.
Yeah.
This whole thing falls
Elementary
under this
schools.
umbrella.
Yes.
Once again, anyone who's watching, parents, teachers, educators, all of this stuff, all of these ideologies fall under this umbrella of DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Beautiful, lovely words that are now being ramrodded through virtually every single school district, saying that DEI is going to make our district better. DEI is going to make us more inclusive. The problem with DEI...
The inclusivity will make us more inclusive, everyone.
is that it is rooted, a lot of educators will say, we're not teaching critical race theory, we're not teaching the theory that, like colleges and law schools have come up with. DEI is rooted in critical race theory, and DEI, according to a very prominent California teacher who has gone viral against all of this stuff, Kali Fontanilla, who I spoke with, DEI is actually worse. Because DEI takes
Scary! Oh my God, I'm shivering.
Why is it worse? Because
theory of critical race theory and actually teaches students and teachers and administrators how to implement it in real life settings. So DEI teaches people how to effectively, practically treat others differently.
okay.
How to be anti-racist? Is that what she's trying to say? Like they're breeding anti-racists? Yeah, I would fucking hope so.
Okay, I got to know what DEI
Yeah.
actually
Let's look it up.
is.
Let's actually figure out if she's lying or if she doesn't get it or if she's right on the money.
Because this sounds like new fear-mongering language.
Well, because critical race theory was fear-mongering. For anyone who doesn't know, I looked it up. And it was a right-wing journalist who found the term critical race theory and really ran with it because he wasn't getting enough clicks.
Yeah.
And the right wing sort of picked up critical race theory and ran with it. So that's why it's such a fear-mongering.
So this is saying diversity is the presence of differences that may include race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, ethnicity, nationality, socioeconomic status, language, disability, age, religious commitment, or political perspective. Populations that have been and remain underrepresented among practitioners in the field and marginalized in the broader society.
Fine.
Equity is promoting justice. Love equity is promoting justice and partiality and fairness within the procedures, processes, and distribution of resources by institutions or systems. Tackling equity issues requires an understanding of the root causes of outcome disparities within our society.
Great.
Fantastic. And inclusion is an outcome to ensure those that are diverse actually feel and or are welcome.
It was so scary.
Yeah. Inclusion outcomes are met when you, your institution, and your program are truly inviting to all. To the degree to which diverse individuals are able to participate fully in the decision-making processes and development opportunities within an organization or group. This all seems very positive.
Yeah, it doesn't seem scary at all. And critical race theory isn't mentioned once. Because I think that they really believe that critical race theory just means white people are racist.
Well, yeah.
Which, like, essentially, that is at the base. But they take it as racism against white people. So for something
but
like...
the base is not that white people are racist. The base of critical race theory is that the system is racist.
Well, yes, the
Right?
system that is dominated by whiteness.
Right, yeah. But there's a big difference between whiteness and white people.
That's very true. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. That's a good distinction.
So I'm just saying, don't give them any rope to hang
Don't give
society
her-
with.
Yeah.
They are fully wrong.
Can stop. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with this.
There's
and
nothing.
I have a problem with people who find problems with this.
And can you click back on here? I want to see if there's other like
stuff.
is this like it's not an organization, it's just like a concept, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a push for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
So this is saying, what does it mean in the workplace? Creating and maintaining a successful workplace, one founded on the principle that all people can thrive personally and professionally. It's important you fully understand each component, both individually and how they work together.
Okay, so just a bunch of very positive.
It's like diversity training.
Yeah, humane philosophy. New parameters for business practices to make things more inclusive and diverse and equitable.
This is exactly what we just read. And
Okay.
then every employee should feel valued at work by their peers and their employer.
So it really is something. It's a new set of business guidelines.
Yeah.
And and in that sense, it's probably a little bit corporate bullshit. I'm sure there's a lot of people using this language in corporate settings disingenuously, just to whatever, protect their ass legally, or or they think it's going to be good for their profits or whatever their ulterior motive is. But on its face, diversity, equity, inclusion, these are all positive things to promote.
And it's kind of like we learn about, definitely not through a lens of race, but we learn about, sharing is caring, like that kind of stuff when we're in kindergarten. Like these aren't concepts that are so foreign to people. We just have to also include the fact that like people who look differently than you are also affected by these sort of basic empathetic skills that we develop when we're kids.
Yeah, I mean, like Jesus Christ would sign off on all this stuff enthusiastically. Let's go back to the video.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading, it's basically saying, like, employees shouldn't have to code switch at work, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, the this parent group in Glendale filed the public records request to expose all of these emails of Craig Lewis and what, his rants about how, against anyone who thinks has conservative values. There's all these emails, rants. You can look it up in the article and read them for yourselves. But devil's advocate, when we say that we don't want this taught, aren't we violating certain people by not including their lifestyle in schools?
No, and here's why. Because
I'm impressed she asked the question at all.
Yeah.
Now we have to listen to this stupid answer, but
I want to be very clear on what she's asking because she did that so coyly.
Yeah.
Is she saying, are we being mean to people of color by asking them not to bring their or leftists? Is she talking about leftists or POCs?
go back and play it one more time.
Because
I
if
think she's talking about.
it sounds like POC.
She's talking about all people.
Okay.
Who are marginalized. She's saying, is it bad that we're pushing against diversity because like diversity is good for people? I think they played it again.
Yeah.
You know, this parent group in Glendale filed the public records request, and what his rants about how against anyone who thinks has conservative values. There's all these emails, rants. You can look it up in the article and read them for yourselves. But devil's advocate.
Yeah.
When we say that we don't want this taught, aren't we violating certain people by not including their lifestyle in school?
Yeah, she's saying like people
marginalized people.
Gay people, black people.
Why does she have to say it like that? That's so annoying. Like, just say it. Like, I
don't know.
I'm glad she's
think
playing
it's
devil's,
fine.
and it just is too coy for me, frankly.
Okay.
It's just like, are we certain people who exist? It's just like, are we violating marginalized people by telling them? Like, I don't.
Yeah, it could definitely be way more
like,
explicit. She's bad at talking.
Yeah, it just reads to
factor
me
in.
like insincere. Like, she doesn't.
Well, no, yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, it's not a sincere devil's advocate at all.
Mm-hmm.
She's teeing up a golf ball of stupidity for this other moron to hit.
Yeah.
Out of the park.
All right, let's see what she says.
No, and here's why. Because we're not including heterosexual education in schools either. We're not saying...
Yes,
yeah, heterosexuals are never mentioned at all
Are
in
you
school.
fucking kidding?
Certainly, there's no reference to any like heterosexual marriages ever. Certainly, like
We don't read any heterosexual literature.
Yeah,
in
when you
school.
study history and you like read or like English and you read books, there's no heterosexual relationships depicted in those books ever.
What did I learn about in
not.
school? Incestual relationships between people in European history so that they could keep their bloodline pure.
Yeah.
We
also
learned
I
about
read,
plenty of sex in school.
What's a book that got a lot of attention? Catcher in the Rye,
Catcher
about
in the Rye.
a creepy, reclusive white dude who like pervs after women and hates them for it. Like,
Yeah.
they were fine with us reading that in school. That seems pretty heterosexual. So she's again, like, I think this one on the right is less of an idiot and more of just a fucking liar.
This all lives matter shit.
Yeah, no,
We
it's
don't
just-
teach about heterosexual. We don't teach about
Right, because they're so blinded by their privilege, they can't see that the heterosexuality is framed as, the default.
Yeah.
Which, I get of, like, it certainly is the majority, like, it certainly
At
is
least
the
culturally,
average.
yeah.
Yeah. And as we've discussed before, if we could strip some of the homophobia and transphobia, all of it, rather, out of society, then there probably we would discover there are a lot more gay and trans people
I would say
than we
it's
currently
like
think.
half.
Yeah,
frankly.
like what it's very similar to if you don't know that in the past it used to be that being left-handed was villainized in culture, and then the moment that it was no longer villainized, suddenly there were a bunch more left-handed people. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Almost like a lot of them were hiding it to protect themselves from a bigoted society. And Clappy69, the right is great at warping things in a way they can present it as a threat to children, and then using that outrage to pass laws that are harmful. Truly.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, it's just, fear-mongering. It's propaganda, and that's why we gotta bust it.
Yeah, I just like, I don't like that cop-out. It's infuriating for me. I think it affects me differently than you, but like as a gay person
I
existing
understand
in the
that,
world,
yes.
when she's like, I don't know, like some people per se might be a little left out of the equation. Like that just is like, it's personally offensive to me
that.
when she talks like that.
Totally.
It's
Good
like,
point.
we're human beings. You can call us
you could
I
say
say
gay
us.
people,
I'm
black
marginalized in a
people.
very different way than other people or people of color. So like I'm not
Sure,
just saying
sure.
us, but as a queer person, like it's personally offensive when people speak like that.
Your gayness is marginalized. Yes.
hey kids,
Anyways.
here's a relationship and that you could possibly have, and here are all the sexual education tools and tricks that you need that go along with that relationship.
They do that. I got sex ed. I got heterosexual sex ed.
Wasn't the right the one fighting against sex ed
Oh,
anyway?
absolutely.
Wait, I want to hear.
But now they're like pretending that it doesn't happen. Yeah, sure.
Again, because
Sexual education in schools.
Yeah.
No, and here's why. Because we're not including heterosexual education in schools either. We're not saying, hey kids, here's a relationship and that you could possibly have, and here are all the sexual education tools and tricks that you need that go along with that relationship. We don't want any of that in school.
And like, to be fair,
so she says
if she's
we
saying we
don't
don't
want
want any of that,
yeah.
she could be saying, but she's also saying that that's not taught, which it is.
Yeah.
I was taught sex education, penis and vagina. Nobody taught me how to put my dick in a guy's butthole. They did teach me how to put my dick in a vagina. That was taught to me in fucking junior high.
We didn't get sex ed like that.
And like we said before, there's just tons of content you're exposed to in school, novels, history, etc., that frames heterosexuality as the default. And
Yeah.
and like the exact way she phrased it, of like saying like, oh, here's a relationship you could get into. That's exactly what we're showing.
literally. What?
We fucking like we saw like Disney movies with princesses and princes. That's showing you a relationship you could get into. I remember being a kid and watching Cinderella and being like, so I guess when I get older, I'm gonna have to find a shoe to find my lady, so I can. Like, this is all being showered upon children all the fucking time, which I don't care. Like, that's fine.
Who cares?
I'm all for
Go
it.
ahead.
Letting kids know that heterosexuality exists and that more often than not, men and women are the ones who smooch and get married. You know,
Especially
that's fine.
in the
that's
public.
That's
especially
just
in
a
media.
fact. But to frame it as though like, oh, we don't do it to straight, but yeah, you fucking. It's the same thing with like Black History Month. Like, what about White History Month?
It's so
Every other
stupid.
month is White History Month. Even Black History Month is White History Month. Like, it's just like, it's so the default. It's an absurd criticism.
It's yeah, and I get like her point is she's saying like, well, we don't want that either. Clearly you don't, but like it's.
But they do want.
They want it in media.
They don't want the sex ed.
They
but
don't want
do
the condom
want,
class with the banana.
Yeah, she's and she's not even being that specific. So like, I don't think we can even say that that's exactly what she's saying.
Yeah,
she's just bullshitting. She's lying to monger fear. But she specifically said that she presented as an example teaching just that heterosexual relationships exist and it's a relationship you could have. They do want that taught.
Of course they do.
So
they want that taught as the
she's not
baseline.
like even the little bit of like maybe she's being honest. It's just about sex ed.
Yeah.
They don't want every book that features a heterosexual relationship to be removed from school.
Yeah.
They don't want any piece of history that involves heterosexuality to not be taught.
Yeah.
She's fucking lying.
It's bullshit.
She's a liar.
Whatsoever. And it goes with the leftist ideology. We're not advocating that you go and teach conservative ideology in schools. We're advocating that you take all of it out and teach education as you should be.
Correct. I'm like,
You better teach education as you should.
It should be. I was taught plenty of conservative ideology in school. Like,
Yeah, me too.
Capitalism.
Yeah. Literally what we were taught in school. I'm not kidding. This
Yeah.
is verbatim.
Yeah.
Capitalism is the best way.
Yeah.
Here's all the bad ways.
Yeah.
That is a real thing that a teacher said to me.
Right.
Capitalism is correct.
Yeah.
Here's all the bad ones.
And to say capitalism is correct is conservative ideology. It's capitalist ideology.
We literally had a
neoliberal
teacher say
ideology.
all of the other socialism, communism,
Yeah.
everything. We would learn about it like with pictures of cows. You know
Mm-hmm.
that poster that's like one cow within every field is communism. If everyone has one cow, then that's
Oh, I
capitalism.
did not see this,
No,
no.
so we had this stupid chart with a bunch of cows on it and like dumb infographics about different
My
methods
God.
of running society, and it was like capitalism, socialism, communism, very villainizing for socialism and communism,
Yeah.
and then like oligarchy, monarchy, stuff like that. Yeah, we were literally told this is the correct one, the capitalism, and the rest of these are all failures and bad.
Yes. So all that to say that, again, this person's a liar.
Yeah.
They want conservative ideology taught everywhere. They literally run PragerU kids.
This is conservative ideology being taught to people, and they talk
she's saying
about
not
it.
in school.
Yeah, but they're asking children. All she talks about is fucking
Yeah.
PragerU kids.
Yeah.
She's like, give your kids an iPad.
They
and
want
have
it.
them
They
watch-
want it taught everywhere, and also they've made moves to have PragerU stuff shown in schools. That's something PragerU has done. And also sometimes teachers at schools have just voluntarily chosen to show PragerU videos in their classes, and PragerU wasn't like, no ideology in school. They were like, oh, cool, great, cool. Nice.
They were like, "Ooh, exposure!"
Awesome, fantastic.
Dennis Prager was like, "Yes."
So yeah, anyway, fucking liar.
An applause for that one. See, I knew you could handle it.
Thank you.
I knew
Applause.
you could
Good,
handle
great
it.
lie.
That was
Great
not fun,
lie.
by the way.
Try my
All
best.
right. Yes. Okay. So, anyways, you can go to Daily
She applauded her amazing answer. Yikes.
Caller. You can.
Well, but think
find
about. I
out-
mean, like the other woman is much better at talking than her.
This one? Well, yeah, that's
so of
why
course
I think
she's
she's like a
impressed.
grifter.
Yeah.
She sounds really intelligent
Yes,
when she
yes.
speaks. She just says stupid things.
If I had to guess, I'd say yeah. The other one's a grifter, and this one on screen is just a fucking idiot.
that's the diagnosis here.
Yeah.
all of these emails. A big bravo to Glendale Unified parents who are standing up, unabashedly dedicated to really asking hard questions. And if I have, like I said, I know people on both sides of this because, surprise, I live in the Southern California area and I am Armenian American, and there happens to be a lot of Armenian Americans in positions of authority and influence in Glendale, California. And I know many of you, and I've talked with many of you personally
lives here,
about this,
y'all.
but school board.
She actually, now that it's out, I mean,
I want
she
to like run into her on the street.
She
so
screams
bad.
Glendale. Now that I
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, of course this idiot lives in Glendale.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to people who live in Glendale in general,
No,
but just
I have
like
friends in Glendale. She kind of
she
screams
has this sort of
Glendale.
Glendale vibe.
I don't know. Any California watchers? This
Yeah.
lady screams Glendale.
Yeah.
Didn't they like outlaw? I mean, not that this is a bad thing, but it was like illegal to smoke cigarettes ever in the city of Glendale. Like,
I'm not
wasn't
sure.
that a thing for a while?
It
I
sounds
might
kinda
be
familiar,
wrong,
but I don't-
but I'm pretty sure like you couldn't even smoke cigarettes outside in all of Glendale.
I like
Glendale
that.
is known for some pretty strict rules and laws.
Yeah.
Once again, not saying that's a bad thing.
No.
school board, start answering questions. I want to ask of the Glendale Unified School Board to be brave, to stand up for what is appropriate and not appropriate in schools. And here's a big one. Please hold any
God damn it.
compromised educators accountable for their actions. When
Compromised by
you unleash
what?
emails
By leftism?
When teachers start saying what they think about things, you have to hold them accountable. Aren't these the freedom of speech warriors?
Also, these were emails between a few teachers who I'm sure were all
Right.
friends with each other.
Yeah.
And they were like, release it! And now they're like making it a whole thing?
Yeah, they won't be satisfied until everyone who works in a school is a right-wing moron. That's
That's
the
true.
only thing
That's
that
true.
will satisfy these fuckfaces.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, Clappy
Exactly.
69. Yeah, I was also taught a lot of xenophobic and
It's so
Islamophobic
funny every
shit.
time we say Clappy 69.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh yeah, and they totally teach. They indoctrinate their kids with all kinds of shit, endlessly.
Well, yeah, and in her last video with the other guy, she literally said that she wants to teach her child conservative values, and she wants her child being taught conservative values at all times.
Yeah.
So this whole argument of we don't want any of it taught, just teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic, is a lie. It's
Yeah.
a lie.
It's a total lie.
They're lying to you.
Yeah, well, they're pushing the narrative, the same narrative that says that Call of Duty is not a political video game. You know, it's the conservative definition of apolitical.
Yeah.
Which just means no leftism.
Apolitical, aka
I mean, you can't
Republican.
teach school and not have some element of politics in there. Like
Yeah.
to even have a public school where kids go to learn is a political position. Like That's a political thing to even provide public
Well,
school.
Did you hear
That is political.
She homeschools her kids now. She
Sure,
took
right,
her
and that's
kids out of
political
school.
too.
She took her kids out of school. She said, my kids used to go to public school.
Yeah.
So either, I mean, perhaps they go to private school now. I don't know.
Right.
But
these
she
are all
took them out of public school.
These are political moves. You cannot put a bunch of kids in a room and teach them standardized education and not have it be political to some degree. If you're teaching kids they have human rights, that's political.
That's politics.
If you're teaching kids like anything, it's political. This is just, the people don't know the definitions of words. That's what so much of it comes back to. They either don't know or they are just liars. They're just, propagandists.
I think these guys are liar propagandists.
Yes.
Even more so than they are idiots.
Yes.
Like this.
Absolutely.
Where you see that administrators in positions of influence and authority are ranting against thousands and thousands of parents who hold values that he does not happen to agree with. Please.
Agree with?
Agree with?
Agree with? Interestingly placed air quotes. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Agree with?
Oh, so you don't agree with me? What? Are you implying there's something else he's doing and he's disguising it as not agreeing?
Yeah. If any,
It's just fear-mongering. Literally, scare quotes.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's so stupid.
Not agree with. Oh, your whole video is you not agreeing with shit. How do you sleep at night?
She's like a baby. She sleeps like a fucking baby.
Right, she sleeps with her head resting on a fucking, like, microwave or something. Wakes up a little stupider every day.
These educators accountable and say that's not right. We're
That's
all
not
here
right.
together. We all need to listen to each other. And if parents do not want their
Wait, do we all need to listen to each
We all
other?
need to get together and listen to each other?
So
that
why
sounds like
you-
inclusion.
Why don't you start? Yeah, that does sound like
That sounds a
inclusion.
little like
That sounds
inclusion to
inclusive.
me.
And also, why don't you start?
To listen to everyone?
Yeah, why don't you listen to this email and like take it seriously and not
No.
frame it as just a crazy person not agreeing.
Not agree.
Like, we need to listen to each other. That's why I'm framing this email as insanity, even though it's totally rational. Like, what the fuck?
Well, she says, yeah, everybody who disagrees with her is compromised.
Well,
and like,
no one actually disagrees with her. Everyone just disagrees with her. Don't you know? She wishes people would just disagree with her, but all these people, all these leftists are always going around disagreeing with me.
so stupid.
Fucking jackass.
about sexualized education or curriculum, please listen. That's all I gotta say. Now it's time for the plug for PragerU Kids.
Stop it with all this indoctrination. So now let me tell you about my indoctrination.
Yeah, all this terrible indoctrination for
Shut
kids.
up.
Now here's a book about Father's
She literally
Day.
says, now here's a plug.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Now here's a kid's book about
It's-
Father's Day that centers
so
a white man.
disingenuous. Mom, I'm glad you found that funny. That was crazy, right? She's like, stop indoctrinating our kids. Here's a little plug for my indoctrination. It's so fucking weird.
And now here's our propaganda for kids.
So fucked up.
And that's the thing is, like, I don't have if you want to make a Father's Day book and you choose the father, the cartoon father you put on the cover is a white guy, I have no problem with that in and of itself.
whatever.
But in the context of all this bullshit she's spewing, then to put up this book, like, putting a white guy on the cover, it makes it like fathers are white guys.
Yeah. Well,
That's the message that sends.
It reinforces that is the norm.
Right, exactly. And it would be more inclusive to have a bunch of different looking dads
Yeah.
on the cover.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be legally enforced. And again, like I said, I don't think this is the end of the world, but for her to accuse others
Yeah.
of framing things and
Yeah.
like acting like this is the norm when everybody, we all present our norms based on
Yeah.
what we think is the most
Yeah,
average.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's like, this is just, it's not something to criticize in and of itself. It's a
Right.
question of like, what is the rationale behind it and what are the consequences of this
Yeah.
kind of information being put out. And the consequences of putting out diversity, inclusion, and equity is people understanding each other better, working together better, everyone having a more equitable world, things being fair for everybody. And the impact of Otto's tales is children being stupider.
She's breaking brains.
Yeah.
We can watch an Otto's Tales later
We could,
today because
yeah.
they're very stupid and dumb. We've watched a few of them on here, and they're dumb and bad.
Yes.
Because here's another fun fact. Mothers are not birthing people.
That is a fact. If I ever heard one.
I'm not saying that. I'm laughing because, you know.
Is that her impromptu comedy?
Wait, what is she saying?
She said mothers are not birthing people. I'm so confused. Wait,
Wait,
let's
wait.
listen to the whole thing. From her.
And what's up,
stupid-
Dad?
Hi, Dad. We got.
We
Mom in.
love our white dad.
For the plug for PragerU Kids.
Sure.
Because here's another fun fact. Mothers are not birthing people.
That is a fact.
Why is that funny?
If I ever
I'm
heard
not-
one.
I'm not saying that. I'm laughing because, you know, there is a narrative out there now that specifically says, oh, let's not use the words moms and dads. Some school districts, as we have discussed on this show, have specifically said, oh, we are no longer going to use the words mom, dad, mother, father in classrooms because we want to be all inclusive. That's not inclusive. It's
I have heard people explain not using moms and dads, and that doesn't have to do with transness or gayness. And also, yes, subtle transphobia, absolutely, because she's being transphobic and homophobic about it. But the actual explanation is some people live with their grandparents. Some people live with an aunt and uncle. And when you say moms and dads, you are inherently making those kids feel excluded. It's been explained by many teachers why they want to say adults or they want to say, you know, you're grown-ups. They don't want to say moms and dads, and it has nothing to do with gayness.
No, I didn't know that. So thank you for
It's
that
because some
explanation,
kids don't
Zoe.
live with their mom and or dad.
Yeah.
Or if you say moms and dads and someone has a single parent.
I mean, I can say as
know,
someone who had weird parentage growing up and had like two dads. Like, I mean, like I'll share a little story here for now. Like when I first found out, was first informed that my dad was not my biological dad. Like that day or the next day, I went to school on the school bus, and like the first kid I talked to, it was like, how was your weekend or whatever? And I was like, well, I found out this crazy news, and literally the way she responded was, and I was saying is like, yeah, so I guess now I have two dads, which is cool. I love my dad and another dad. Hey, that doesn't seem too bad. And then this little girl was like, no, that's impossible.
Oh no.
You have one mom and one dad. And I was like, oh.
I know it's not funny, but that's just intense.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that as an example of like, it would have been helpful to me if more teachers, you know.
Had said your grown-ups or your parents.
Yeah,
or not your parents,
your
I'm sorry,
caretakers.
your adults, your caretakers.
You know, whatever. Like you know, to have given more attention to the spectrum of parentage would have given me more space to emotionally grapple with that discovery. So that's, and again, really thank you for that explanation, Zoe, because I
mean, it's not mine, it's from teachers.
Well, right, but I'm saying like when she just said that, my first reaction was that it probably was about gay and trans
I think for
parents.
her it is.
Well, yeah, for her it is.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it just to me is another example of like, if you don't have the knowledge going in, this propaganda is very effective. Because even for me, someone who's very much a leftist and very much loathes PragerU, my brain was still stumbling down the path they wanted my brain to stumble down because I was lacking the knowledge that Zoe had. And this is a big part of why we do propaganda busters.
This is why we do this, because
this is why
there are even moments where like we'll miss something. And that's why
someone in chat will sometimes
say something that we didn't catch or miss something or whatever, because like we need to watch this shit and we need to bring it into light because they're a little more tactical than they come off. Like, she's a dumb idiot, but there are some people on PragerU that are more well spoken, like the other girl. And those people are better at making you feel like you don't know what you're talking about. And it's just like it's super damaging.
Well, and the dangerous thing is that like you can train a dummy to be an effective propagandist. Like, I think this woman's a dummy, but she's very well trained by her culture and by her bosses here. Like, they don't even have to fully understand what they're doing. They just have to parrot the same talking points, the same bad analyses, and it's effective propaganda.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch the next one.
Yeah.
Out there.
Everyone hang out. It's going to get
not
funnier.
Appropriate. We got a book for your kids. Today is Mother's Day, talking about the special role that mothers, yes, in fact, mothers play.
All right, that one is transphobic.
In all of our lives.
That one, blatant transphobic.
And it's a sweet little book. It's not political, believe it or not. I used a political phrase to sort of get your attention there.
Hi, Katie.
But it's a
The whole
book
family's
about some mothers in history. Abigail Adams, Anna Lee Fisher, working moms, stay-at-home moms, and the special role that moms play in our lives, and how it is one of our most important values and gifts to honor our parents. Honor thy mother and thy father. One of the commandments.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
If only you could find a way to love your parents without needing a fucking burning bush to tell you.
Without the Bible. Oh, there it is. I was waiting for it. Because here's the thing. These people, like, are so horny for the nuclear family.
Yes.
Like, they love it. They're
Yeah.
just, like, anything that is outside of that. And that's why she says stupid shit like, you have to say parents. Because anything outside of the nuclear family, like, breaks her brain.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, she has her identity attached to
It's
these
so
values,
nuts.
and it's an affront. It feels like, for someone like her, who I think is a dummy who actually believes this stuff, it's like an affront.
Yeah.
It's an affront to her identity.
Yeah. Well, it's personal. Yeah, you're right. It's
Because if
personal
those
for her.
aren't, if her rules for what makes a person good aren't true, then she has to reassess her entire moral compass, and that
Right.
is a
Right.
daunting proposition for any human being.
Big cognitive dissonance
Oh my
happening
God!
here.
Oh yeah, there's just dissonance pouring out of her ears.
It's just like constant ringing of the ears.
Yeah, literally, you know that like the sound in movies, like when a grenade goes off and then everything gets quiet. It's like, ee! It's just like that inside her brain all the time.
She's like, trans women are women.
yeah, exactly.
so
there can be a
difficult.
family without a mother and father.
Like, it's too much.
Okay.
So, PragerU Kids is not teaching ideologies that are infiltrating our classrooms. What we want to do is a return to a values-based education system where
Values-based.
What values?
She doesn't know what words mean.
What
You
values?
could have a school that only teaches leftism explicitly and aggressively all the time, and it would be a value-based system. You fucking moron.
She doesn't. She's so stupid.
Oh, it's because she lives in this.
She can't say
Well, yeah.
what she's thinking.
Well, and it's also not only that she's obsessed with the nuclear family, but that she believes morality exists. She believes there's good and bad outside of human brains.
Yeah. That, like, well, because God, it's a God thing.
Right.
Like, God determines what is good and what is right and what is moral,
Yeah.
rather than morality existing just between people.
Yeah.
It's just like,
She believes in Santa God.
yeah, exactly.
The God who's making a list and checking it twice.
Yes.
And it's really
just nuts.
insufferable. It's values everything. Any opinion is a value.
Yeah. Clappy 69 made a good point. Don't values need to be set by
Yes,
ideology? How do you have
yes.
values without an ideology? We're not teaching ideology.
We hate ideology.
Teaching...
We love values.
It's just values. No ideology here. Just values.
Ah!
When this woman's here,
Insane.
we need to turn the mic down.
I guess so, yeah. I get closer to the mic, too.
celebrate who we are as families, as Americans, as people who celebrate freedom under God, equality under God. And this is our latest book, Otto's Tales. You can
Freedom under God, equality under God. I thought, wasn't it DEI that she's like, none
Yeah.
of that?
Well, notice very specific phrasing. Equality under God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute.
You know the kind of equality where there's something above everyone? You know that kind of equality?
And, we're being very nitpicky with her language because she's
'Cause fuck her.
a propaganda piece of shit. So we
Yeah.
have to be nitpicky because
Yeah.
this language is tactical. She's
Yeah.
being tactical. She is doing everything she can to not say exactly what
yeah.
she's thinking, because if she does, she will report on herself.
Or she's not being tactical and she was tactically taught to behave this way.
Yeah.
Someone was being tactical.
Yeah.
She might just be a puppet. But yeah, someone is being tactical. What's up, Shraver? Welcome to the chat. Hey, different strokes for different folks.
Strokes for different folks.